Have you ever felt like your ability to focus is just gone? Like you're in a constant tug of war with distractions and procrastination and you're losing? Well, you're definitely not the only one. Today, we're going to crack open the secrets from Peter Holland's book, The Science of Powerful Focus. We're talking about real, science-backed ways to basically hack our own brains, reclaim our attention, and actually get stuff done. So, let's jump right in.
Here's the game plan. First, we'll tackle what I call the focus dilemma, why this is so hard in the first place. Then, we'll peek inside your head at the biological fight club that's running the show. After that, we get to the good stuff, learning to work with your body's natural energy. And finally, we'll load you up with a tactical toolkit for deciding what really matters.
All right, first things first, the focus dilemma. You know the drill. You have a massive, important deadline creeping up, but you suddenly find yourself deep cleaning the fridge or watching videos about, I don't know, competitive cheese rolling. So why? Why is it so ridiculously difficult to just sit down and do the work? Well, the answer is kind of fascinating.
I mean, check out this story from the author, Peter Holland. Back in college, he was procrastinating so hard on a paper that he actually got a friend to intentionally corrupt the file just to get an extension. That's extreme. But let's be honest, we've all felt that desperation, right? That feeling of doing anything to avoid the big, scary task.
So, what's really going on here? Psychologists call it the future self dilemma. And it's simple, really. We view the person we'll be tomorrow or next week almost like they're a complete stranger. It makes it super easy to just dump all the hard work on them. That sounds like a problem for future me. We just don't feel the consequences. Yet.
And get this, this isn't just a feeling, it's a biological fact. A Harvard study literally scanned people's brains while they thought about themselves in the future. The result? The brain activity was almost identical to when they thought about a celebrity. So, in your brain's eyes, the person who has to deal with your procrastination is about as real as a movie star. No wonder we passed the buck.
Okay, so this isn't just some weird psychological quirk. It's actually driven by a real, live battle happening inside your skull every single day. And I want to be clear about this. This isn't about you being lazy. This is about biology. It's about your fundamental wiring.
So here's the showdown. You've got two parts of your brain in a constant fight, and it's not a fair one. On one side, you have the limbic system. Let's call it the pleasure seeker. It wants what feels good right now, and it reacts in a blazing fast 1/32nd of a second. On the other side is your prefrontal cortex, the planner. It's responsible for focus and good decisions, but it takes a full 3 seconds to even get going. In that huge gap, impulse has already won the race.
And this high-speed, uneven battle? It is exactly why multitasking is a total myth. I'm serious. You're not actually doing two things at the same time. You're just forcing your brain to switch back and forth, super fast. It's incredibly draining and wildly inefficient.
And the data doesn't lie. A famous Stanford study looked at this and found something incredible. The people who considered themselves high multitaskers, the ones who did it all the time, were actually worse at filtering out stuff that didn't matter. So the very act of trying to do more makes your brain worse at focusing on what's important. Kind of ironic, right?
Okay. Enough with the problem. Let's talk solutions. This is where it gets good. The key is to stop fighting a battle you're biologically wired to lose, and instead start working with your brain's natural programming. It's about being strategic, not just forceful.
And that strategy can start with a single, simple number, 25. 25 minutes. What's so magic about 25 minutes? Well, it's not just pulled out of thin air. It's the powerful little building block of one of the most effective focus methods ever created. It's called the Pomodoro Technique, and it's beautifully simple. You work, like head down, no distractions, intense focus for 25 minutes. Then you have to take a 5-minute break. Get up, walk around, do anything but work. You repeat that little cycle 4 times, and then you've earned a real break, like 15 to 30 minutes. It's a system that keeps you from burning out.
Now, the reason the Pomodoro works so well is that it piggybacks on a much larger natural cycle in our bodies. As Tony Schwartz points out, our brains tend to operate in 90-minute cycles of high to low energy. They're called ultradian rhythms. So whether you're working in 25-minute sprints or longer 90-minute blocks, the principle's the same. Intense work, then rest.
It's how your brain wants to operate.
So, we've got the timing down, working in sprints that match our natural energy. But that just covers the when. Now we need to figure out the what. Let's build out your tactical toolkit with some really practical mental models to help you figure out what actually deserves your focus.
Because this is the big one, isn't it? You stare at your to-do list, and it's just this giant wall of text. Everything feels important. Everything feels urgent. And you end up just frozen, not knowing where to even start. It's called analysis paralysis, and it's a focus killer.
Okay, so let me introduce you to the ABCDE method. This is like a triage system for your tasks, and it's brilliant. A tasks are your absolute must-dos. If you don't do them, there are serious consequences. B tasks are your should-dos. There might be minor consequences. C tasks are just nice to do. No big deal if they don't get done. And then the real power moves. D for delegate and E for eliminate. Just get it off your plate entirely.
And that brings us to a really counterintuitive point. We always think productivity is about cramming more stuff in, about optimizing every minute. But what if I told you that true focus is just as much about what you decide not to do?
This is why you should actually create a don't-do list. Seriously, write it down. This is your official permission slip to ignore things. That task you're waiting on someone else for, don't do it. That busy work that makes you feel productive but adds no real value, don't do it. Stop polishing that project that's already at 90% perfect, and maybe most importantly, stop saying yes just because you feel guilty, and for the love of all that is holy, stop checking your email every 5 minutes.
We've gone through a lot here, from the biology of your brain to these super practical tactics. But knowing this stuff is one thing. Actually doing it is another. So I want to leave you with one simple, direct question. What is the one distraction, just one, that you're going to eliminate starting today to take back your focus? The biggest journeys start with the smallest step. What's yours going to be?